guys, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for tuning in for another video. My name is Sarah. So today I'm here to do something a little different. I've never actually done this before on my channel. I wanted to show you guys how you can make your own hat. So we're going to be using a loom knitting kit today. So this is the kit that I have always been using. It's been more than a couple of years that I've been using this loom kit, and you get yourselves a hat for your baby, your toddlers, a hat for yourself, scarf, blanket, baby blanket, so many things. There are so many options that you can knit from using a loom knitting kit. So I'll show you guys the one that I have. So every loom knitting kit comes with 4 distinct loom. So this and then there's the third one, and then it all depends on the size of the hat or the project that you're working on. So, and then I have one here which I'm currently working on, Elijah's hat. So I'll show you guys the 4 sizes. So how you can find yours is you can go about with the number of pegs. So these things on your loom knitting kit are called pegs. Smallest loom has around 21 to 23 pegs. It depends on every brand. Different brands have different sizes, but approximately it is between 21 to 23. So this size loom you can use to make a hat for a doll or a newborn baby. So nothing above that size because of the head circumference. It will just be of this, so probably just a doll and for a newborn. This next size, which again has around 31 to 30, mostly 31 to 32 pegs. Loom you can use for babies from 6 months until 2 years of age. This is the size that kids will fit into. Sometimes 1.5, depends on the size of the baby, the toddler's head. So mostly this, and the one that I'm working on currently is a 36 peg loom. This one is for kids from 4 years of age until 40 years. Anyone can fit into this hat because that's how it is. That's how the head circumference is, and your kids and you yourself, until elders and everyone can fit into this loom. And the biggest one, which is a 41 peg loom, can also you can make hats out of these two. But the hats that usually people use for this loom is those slouchy hats. I will try to leave an image here. The ones that fall at the back. Those hats you can make with the biggest loom. And also blankets. This is the one that I use to make blankets. The biggest one. It also depends on the size of the blanket that you need. You can of course make blankets out of these as well for babies. But I like to do it with this, so it has a lot of space, and the blanket is a lot bigger. So along with these 4 looms, you will also get a hook and a needle. So these are what you're going to use to knit your project. So to start off with, I am already started knitting one for Elijah. So I'll just continue with this, but I'll show you how you have to start with the hat. Show you in this 31 peg loom. But the same method that you're going to follow for any hat size. The size, the loom doesn't really matter. It's only the method. So you can just follow the same thing. So I'll show you guys what you're going to do first. Here are some of the projects that I wanted to show you guys. This is the scarf that I made for my husband a couple of years ago, and he still uses it because it's very cozy, especially during the winters. And then this one I made for Elijah when he was 10 months old. That's when I made the scarf. You all know we are in the lockdown, so I could not find new yarn. This is just the yarn that I already have, just few yarns that I've used for Elijah before, projects that I've used before. So this is the one that I'm going to show you right now. I'm going to use this yarn. So the yarn here, the one that I have, is called a super bulky yarn. You can see how thick the yarn is. You will find finer ones. When you're going to be using thinner yarn, you're going to be using 2 yarn, which equals 1 big bulky yarn. So you just have to keep that in mind. To start off with, I'm going to take the end of my yarn like so. This peg here that is sticking out is called an anchor peg, and this is what you're going to tie a slip knot, which is basically a knot to hold on to your project so the yarn doesn't come off. So I'm just making a simple knot, and I'm going to knot here at the anchor peg. Making a knot. I'm going to put the knot on the anchor peg. Just pull through. Now your project is secure and you can start. So what you're going to do is you're going to start from the right side. You're going to wrap the yarn once around each single peg. So like this. Just going to wrap it. Wrap it around each peg like this. So the yarn comes once on each peg. So it's very simple. You just wrap it. As you wrap, just push these things down so there's more space for the next row. Just going like that. So I am back to my anchor peg. Now the anchor peg is here and I've finished on the left side. So what I'm going to do now is just continue again. Just continue again, wrapping clockwise. So this time I'll be having 2 rows of yarn on each peg. I just hope I'm making sense. I just hope you guys can understand. Once your loom looks this way, that is you've wrapped once fully and then you again wrapped all the pegs one more time. So now each peg will have 2 rows of yarn. So what you're going to do now is, this is when you're going to be using your hook. So what we're going to do is very simple again. You're going to just start with that on the right side, right? The first peg that you used to wrap first clockwise. So that is the peg on the right side. So right side of your anchor peg. So you're going to, what you're going to do is you're just going to lift the bottom row up over the top like that. I don't know. See. So you're going to lift the bottom one over the top and pull. Again, you're going to take the bottom over the top, and when you even if you see that this here is loose, it will automatically tighten when you pull the next. So this is what you're going to continue until you finish all the pegs. So let me see if I can show you guys this way. So I'm just taking the lower over the top. That's it. Going to continue this. I'll be back. You doing this, that is the process of putting this the lower row on top of the other, is what is knitting here. So you're loom knitting. So now what you've done is you've completed one row. So you need to wrap and then knit it off. Only then it completes one row. So what you can do is, just to keep a track of the number of rows that you're going to be doing, you can have a paper and pen on the side and you can start just marking 1, 2, 3 as such as you keep going over the rows. So for a toddler or even a baby's hat that is from 6 months above, I would say 32 rows would be perfect. That is like the right length. In fact, you will still have some space as the head grows. You can still keep pulling the hat down. Again, it's all your preference. If you want to make a bigger hat, you can go up the rows, and if you want something more tight and compact, you can just go down 2 more rows, and that would fit their head. So it all depends on your preference. But this is just how you're going to do. So once the first row is done, what we're going to do is now we're going to again start wrapping. So what you will find now is you just need only 1 row and you will be knitting, because there is already 1 row at the bottom. So you just need 1 more row and you can start knitting. So I'm going to do the second one again now and show you. So my yarn is here. I'm going to start wrapping from the right side. the basic hat is very simple to make. It's one of the easiest projects. That's why I also started with this. There is really no confusion at all. You just have to just keep repeating the same thing, wrapping and then knitting off, wrapping and then knitting off for 32 rows, and your cap will be done. I've wrapped all my pegs and my yarn is again on the left side of the anchor peg. What I'm going to do, I'm going to again take the lower one over the top and knit off. Take the lower one over the top and knit off. Take the lower one over the top and knit off. You're just going to continue this for 32 rows, knit off. So if you see here, this one has a lot of gaps and it looks a little loose, but see what happens to this when I just pull this next one, it automatically tightens the previous peg. So you do not need to worry if your hat looks like it's got some holes. So just knitting. Wanted to make this loom knitting video because we have a second lockdown now, and it's just so difficult to go out, and you cannot really go out. You just have to stay home. So something like this will definitely keep you occupied. Whenever I make a loom knitting project, I just have my headphones on, I just have music on, and I just keep knitting, and I won't even know how the time flies. And that is the reason I wanted to make this simple hat project for all of you. So if you can get a hold of a loom knitting kit, and also you can find loom knitting kits everywhere. You can find it on Amazon. You find it in it's there in Amazon India as well. You just have to type in loom knitting kit and it will drop down. You'll see the variety of brands that carry loom knitting kits, just look out for the round loom kit, and you will find all these looms along with the hook and the needle. It comes together and you can start making your own loom knitting projects. If you guys like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you like what you're seeing until now, do give it a thumbs up, and also let me know if you want to see more projects as such. I will also post more in the coming days. So if you see here, my second row is also done. So you just have to write somewhere that your second row is done, just to keep a track. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to shift. You guys can just continue. But what I'm going to do is, like I said, I've started with Elijah's hat and I'm in row 6. So I'm really not that far. And I'll show you guys the rest of it. Rest of the rows with this. I'm again going to be doing 32 rows like I said, and I'll show you guys how to finish the hat. You just have to keep doing the same thing, just keep continuing. So I'll show you guys one more time with this loom. Just don't get confused because I'm using a different loom here. Just look at the method, because that is all that you need. It doesn't, the size of the loom doesn't really matter. My project, like I said, my this one is, yeah, so I just finished 5 rows. So you can see my anchor peg is here. Also, once you just go over 3 rows, you can remove the knot that you had on your anchor peg. You can remove that. So I just removed mine and I just put it inside. It's really your choice. If you want, you can remove it, but why I would suggest you remove it is because as you go, the yarn will start to tug on it and it becomes a little difficult for you to knit off. So if you just remove it, there's a lot of the yarn is a lot more flexible. So now that it's on the left side, like I said, I'm just going to wrap again. So I'm just going again this way, just wrapping all my pegs. We are all quarantined at home since last year, and I did see a lot of people learning new skills during this time. There was a lot of baking, and then there was I think people actually even learned to play an instrument, learned a new language. So many such wonderful talents. I love knitting, especially loom knitting. I find it very calming and relaxing, and you you're just in your own world doing it. So like I said, I've finished the second row as well, and what we're going to do is, like I said, just knit everything off. Just going to take the lower one over the previous one and knit off. Then I'll skip to the time when I finish, when I do all my 32 rows. So you guys do not have to see each and every row. I'll finish 32 rows and then I'll show you guys how you can finish the hat. So guys, like I said, I showed you. So this is, so again, I just knit off my 7th row. So what you're going to do is you're going to continue this for 12 rows. So your 12th row is the brim of the hat. You know that portion that covers your ear, that thick band sort of a portion, that is the brim of the hat. So until the 12th row is the brim of the hat, and then you can continue until your 32 rows. So I'll finish until my 12th row, and I'll show you guys how you can close the brim. Otherwise you can actually just do the hat without the brim. My first hat was that way. I just did not do the brim because I just felt it was a little difficult and a little confusing, especially for the first time. So I just continued, did not stop anywhere. I just continued until 32 rows. But because this is a video that I'm showing you guys, I would like for you guys to try it. It does look very pretty. It has a nice it has like a separate brim, and then you can see the rest of the hat. So you can definitely try, but if you find it a little confusing, because it's also my first project, like showing you guys something, I do not want to confuse you. So if you do find it confusing, you can just skip that part and you can just continue the 32 rows. But if you can, then I'll show you guys once I finish my 12th row. So I'm done with my 12th row. If you see, the yarn is back again to the anchor peg. So if you see here at the bottom, this is the brim of the hat. So you've done the brim of the hat, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to close the brim. So what you're going to do is you're going to take everything this way. You're just going to bring it back here, and it's actually very easy to find out the yarn for that particular peg. So if you just pull on your project a little, so you see here, you just count, and you can this way actually count the number of rows that your peg is. So if you see here, this is the very first row that we did. So you're just going to pull it on a little bit, so it automatically opens up, and you can see the loop. So what you're going to do is you're just going to take that loop, go back to that peg and tie it. And then after that it's a little easier because that you're just opening up that next automatically. So you're just going to put up the next one, then the next, then the next one. So you just have to make sure when you've completed, each peg will have that corresponding yarn looped on it. So here, the next one, next one. So this is what we are going to do to close the brim. So the hat has a nice like a very structured brim. If you see here, each peg has its corresponding yarn looped on it. So what we're going to do is, as always, take our hook and take the bottom one on the top, just like we did the previous rows. Take the bottom on the top. So you're closing the brim. Just take this, take the bottom over the top and knit off. So if you see here, I've already knit off, and we are back with that one row and the brim is closed. So at this point, I want to change colors. You can if you want, but you can just continue with the same yarn that you have. So what I'm going to do is, this is the yarn that I was working with. So I'm just going to cut that off. Just going to cut it off like that. And very simple, I'm taking the new yarn. I'm just taking that and just very simply just connecting this to that, and then make sure that just go very low as you can possible to the peg, so it's just not seen. Then you're just going to make a little knot there. So that's it. So this new yarn becomes your working yarn. Then just continue with the hat. You do not need to change. It's not a must for you to change colors, but if you do, this is the way. Cut off the excess. That's it. So I've completed my 32 rows like I had told you. If you see here, the hat is beginning to form. This is the brim of the hat. So I'll show you guys now how to finish the hat. So this is your working yarn. You have the yarn here. So what you're going to do is, you're just going to go around your loom just to get the size. So much, because you're going to thread it out, so you need some yarn to thread it out. So I've just taken one full round, and then I'm going to cut off here.
Pink. Yeah.
And I'm going to thread with the needle that it comes with.
Scissors.
So I have the needle ready. So this is what you're going to do. So you're going to, your thread is here. You're going to start from the peg that you first start with, as always, on the right side of the anchor peg. So you're going to take your needle, put it through this. You're going to take it out. And once you see that it's nice and secure, just take it off the peg. You're going to do the same thing here. You're going to put the needle through the peg, pull through. Once it's secure, take it off the peg and just tighten it. It's going to do the same thing all around the loom.
Okay.
Pull, take it off the peg.
A peg? Yeah.
So I'm in my last 4 pegs, just showing you everything again. Just putting the needle through and I'm pulling it. Once it's tight, just taking it off the peg. Again, going through. You're going to take it off the peg and you're going to pull tight so your hat closes. Just adjust it, just the yarn so the hat closes. Your hat is ready, but what I usually like to do is just to make sure that the hole is closed. I just like to go like, you know, just random holes like that, just making sure that it actually doesn't open up. Cut the yarn. And you've knit yourself a hat. So I'm going to teach you guys how you can make your own pom-pom that goes on top of the hat. So it's very simple again. So what you're going to do is, I just have so much of yarn that is left over of the yarn here like this in my hand, and I'm just using my 4 fingers and I'm going to wrap around. And I'm doing like a minimum of at least 30 to 40. The more you go, the more number of times you go, the bigger your pom-pom will be. So just keep going. Done about 30 wraps. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut off the string. So once we have all the wraps, what you're going to do is you're just going to carefully take it off your hand. You're going to take another yarn, not too big, just so much, and you're going to tie the pom-pom. So you're going to do this. You're going to bring it in front and first wrap it so it just stays inside. That way it's easier for you to tie it. Going to just knot it up. Just hope you guys can understand. Like that. You're just knotting it. Just go one more time. What you're going to do now is you're going to grab your scissor and feed it through this side, the side that has these, and until you get the scissor on the other side, and you're just going to cut the yarn. Do the same thing on the other side. So put the scissor through until you get it on the other side. Cut open them. Then from here you're just going to use your hand to just fluff it up. And then here you can see like I've missed a loop here, so you can just cut that. Just use your hand to fluff up your pom-pom. And then just after this, so you can see our pom-pom is ready. If you find you know, the like this, if you find few yarn pieces that are long, just trim it so they look equal to the other side. So what you're going to do now is I'm going to show you how you can attach your pom-pom to the hat. So for that, what you're going to do is, again, take your needle and get a decent size of yarn. So for this, it doesn't really have to be this particular needle. You can just use any sewing needle and even a thinner thread, but I'm just using this one today. You're going to thread your needle, and I'm going to feed the needle through the pom-pom like this into the hat.